Welcome back, my legends, and today I'm going to explain what's happening in the Ghost Quest storyline from the prologue to chapter 5. This is not going to really talk about the snitch because I decided that that's going to be for next week. Today I'm going to explain what's going on and what led up to these events, because some people may be a little bit confused, or they don't play the quest or understand it or care about it. So I decided to make this simple to understand video to explain what is happening and why is Lova doing what she's doing. And let's begin. Now, this all started at the beginning of the season where we see Lova going in this secret facility under King's Canyon, specifically under Skull Town. For those of you who don't know, Revenant cannot die. When Revenant dies in the games, what happens is that all his memories gets uploaded to another Revenant body to simplify it, so he cannot really die. He's immortal unless you destroy his actual head, which is what Lova went to do. Now, we know this thanks to the help of Jamie, Lova's simp friend. What happened was that he discovered in Lova that there were some secret passages underneath the games. So why is this important? Well, Hammond Robotics knew about this, but they could never go down there because they did wanted to get rid of Revenant back in World's Edge, but unfortunately it was very complicated to get down there because they didn't have access to it. So they decided just to keep an eye on him by letting him be in the games. But that was dangerous because one day they understood that Revenant could turn on them and go hunt them down, because I don't think Revenant understands that the people who are really in charge of Hammond, the people who did those secret dark things in the past, right now he thinks this is just a rebrand of Hammond Robotics and they're completely different people. But the more he keeps playing the games, eventually he's going to find out the truth. In fact, that's exactly what happened in the other dimension, the SHADOWFALL universe, where Lova explains to us that SHADOWFALL Revenant did a coup and is now the ruler of that King's Canyon in that universe, because he was able to convince the legends to come together and go against Hammond Robotics and the Syndicate, overthrow them, and then betrayed the legends and forces them into playing his never endless shadow game. So in that universe, Revenant betrays the legends and now rules King's Canyon. In fact, this will explain why there's no Pathfinder and Lova in the SHADOWFALL world, because Revenant hates Pathfinder because he's a Hammond Robotics product. So obviously in that universe he got rid of Pathfinder because he didn't like Pathfinder, just because he's related to Hammond Robotics. And Lova, I think he just killed Lova because Lova was a person that kind of knew too much. So since she knew about his head and he decided to, instead of I wanted to die, he decided I want to rule King's Canyon forever. So he decided to get rid of Lova. That's why you don't see both Lova and Pathfinder. This to me explains the SHADOWFALL world perfectly. So in that universe, Revenant convinces the legends that Lova is a traitor and you should not trust her. Trust me, just like how you guys voted for that you guys will be on Team Revenant. Go against Hammond Robotics and the Syndicate instead of Watson, who was supposed to be the one to do that. Takes over King's Canyon and then betrays them, turns them into shadows to play his endless game, gets rid of Pathfinder because he's a Hammond Robotics unit, and kills Lova because she knows about his head and the other legends don't. So, or every legend could know about his head thing, but since Revenant doesn't want to be, alone in King's Canyon, he just forces them to play this game so that way they can't do anything about his head. So, this explains the SHADOWFALL universe completely well, and if any Respawn dev is watching this, you can, take my idea if you want. I'm not gonna, sue you. So, the SHADOWFALL world is basically the future if the legends go on to trust Revenant. So what is happening in the current events of the chapter? So what we know now is that Lova made a deal with Hammond Robotics because Hammond Robotics clearly knew what she was after. If she was after the source code or Revenant's head. And Caustic does explain to us that he did work for Benson Dynamics at one point. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because he basically explains that the source code stored is basically like the memories, the data imprint in the simulacrum. So it's what makes Revenant Revenant. It's what makes him a simulacrum, basically, in simple terms to understand. It's what cannot make him die. So when Revenant's body gets destroyed, what happens is that all his programming files, memories, it gets put into a new Revenant automatically. So this is why in one of the loading screens, Revenant accounts awakened like he was drowning, and that's because the body that was supposed to be his next body, if his original body got destroyed, it was one of the spare units that was in this secret facility. So but now it's underwater, all of them. So this was very lucky by Hammond Robotics, because if Loba never destroyed the facility, Revenant would have awoken inside this facility and he would have seen his head, and there was a control panel there. So Revenant would have discovered the secrets of Hammond Robotics, and that hey, the people who are still in charge of this are still alive. And I think this is how the coup thing happened, where he was able to convince the legends that hey, let's go after the Syndicate and Hammond Robotics, and then betray them. It makes sense. So in a way, Hammond should be thankful that Loba destroyed the facility, because all the evidence was destroyed and Revenant is gonna take longer to find the truth. So what does this tell us? Well, Hammond understood that they could not get in this facility. It was too hard for them. They probably tried and they couldn't, but Loba was able to get there. So they understand that Loba is able to get stuff that nobody else can. In fact, that's what her reputation is based on. So they were willing to give her the source code, or where in the location of where Revenant's head is, but it's like the same thing with King's Canyon. It's in a facility that they could not get in. It's too hard for them, but they also want something in return. So the heads of Hammond Robotics made a deal with Loba. Give us this thing, and in return we'll give you the source code. So Loba, like being a thief, she understand that this was going to be a hard accomplishment, going to this dimension and getting the missing artifacts. So what she did was lie to the legends and told them, hey, this is some kind of treasure, and in return I'm gonna go help you guys with your problems. But as we now know is that Bangalore uncovered the truth, and that hey, could be something very dangerous through the Outlands if Hammond Robotics gets their hands on it, which it's kind of obvious now that we're building a simulacrum. It's a head. It's very obvious, and if you see on top of it, it says Benson Dynamics, and we know one simulacrum that's very connected to Hammond Robotics and Benson Dynamics, and that's Ash from Titanfall, but that's a video for another time. Right now I want to explain the events that's happening here. So Loba gets exposed by Bangalore, saying that hey, you've been lying to us. This is not a treasure we've been trying to collect. It's something that Hammond Robotics told you to get, and we're building it for you so that way you can get a source code. And what we learned from Loba is that she was never going to help the legends with their problems. She even admitted it in her mind that, oh, I can't wait for this thing to be built, and 2 days later I'm going to bail and be out of here. So she was never going to help the legends, which is a very scummy thing to do. But you have to understand, this is Loba. Her life has been always about being alone and only trusting herself. Say that hey, if I put my trust into people, I would not have survived this long in this universe. She is very cold but here's the thing, she could be trustworthy if you earn it. This is why she went to the bathroom, because if Revenant never figures out what's going on to this point, then she will figure that hey, none of these legends are working with Revenant at all, so I could trust them. But the fact that Revenant eventually finds out about their plans tells her that hey, nobody could be trusted. He somehow found out of our plans. That means somebody told him. Nobody could be trusted here. I can't trust none of you. The only leverage that Loba had is that none of the legends knew what the source code was about until Caustic pretty much explained that, oh yeah, it's for a simulacra's head. So why is this important? Is because now that they all know this, is the snitch, whoever it is going to tell Revenant, and there is no way that Revenant is going to be happy about this. There is no way he's going to let Loba destroy his head after helping the legends, which we know he did help them because he is pickable in some missions. So he's going to be very angry that they used them to destroy him. So he's gonna want revenge on Loba, and she she knows it. That's why she says, how am I going to sleep tonight? And then Bloodhound says, don't sleep. So a little bit of oh, you're screwed now type of banter. Now something interesting happens when the legends learn about the truth about what this artifact is. They didn't want to continue building it except Ray. Now as insane as this sounded, it makes sense because the thing is already built and the only person that will be willing to finish it will be Revenant, because it's kind of clear we're building a simulacrum and this simulacrum could have some secrets or knowledge about the old Hammond robotics. So Revenant for sure is going to want that information to get his revenge. So that's kind of the basics of what's happening in the Broken Ghost quest, with a little bit of my theories just so we can explain some details that are missing, because obviously they didn't have enough time to come up with a full-fledged story in a month and a half. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you all next time.
I'll keep on repenting for that night so long ago.